British lost around 11 to 12,000 men, the Canadians 2 to 3,000. All these young men and women, most of them probably never got married, never had children, but sacrificed the most, the very most for us. Let us pray. Lord, we are struggling. We are struggling down here. Just as in 1914 and 1939, pure evil has come again to the continent of Europe, the site where World War I and World War II began. And only time will reveal whether World War II is coming. Supreme evil has come upon Europe again. Putin has replaced Hitler. The Gestapo has been replaced by the Russian paramilitary mercenary Wagner Group, whose mission is interrogation, torture, and murder of civilians and soldiers. Genocide has returned to the face of Europe. Meanwhile, we Americans should be coming together as one. African Americans, Chinese, Japanese, Korean Americans, Scot-Irish, Native Americans, Hispanics, Jews, Baptists, Catholics, Muslims, all of us should be banding together, protecting each other, standing up for America. Then why, Lord, are we killing each other? Why are we killing our children? What is happening? People are getting killed for no good reason. Yes, supreme evil is here again on the face of the earth. And if we don't wake up and stand up for each other, our doom is inevitable. Our victory is far from assured. Lord, we're struggling down here. Help us. Help us, Lord. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to say good evening to everyone, and those of you who are viewing by River City TV, and those of you who are here in the chambers. Mr. Attorney, I just want you to check the doors back there, please, if you don't mind. Again, good evening to everyone, and welcome. Announcements from Sova Update. Mr. John Kent, Chief Operating Officer of Sova Health. Good evening to you, sir, and welcome. Come on forward and prepare to give your report. Good evening, sir.
Thank you, sir. My name is John Kent. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Sova Health Danville. I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council, for the opportunity to come before you and the community to provide a brief update. Tonight I want to present on a few different topics of interest. Specifically, we'll talk about our community impact update. You all have a handout for that, and we have more, and it's posted now on our website for the community as well. Talk about some of our current and upcoming community challenges, our journey to be your reliable, highly reliable provider of health care, and then want to conclude with some recent successes and accomplishments for our organization. The impact of our hospital, as evidenced by some of the facts on the sheet. I'm not going to read through the sheet, but I just want to touch on some highlights in here. Our impact is both direct and indirect effects within the community. Looking on the front end of this thing, you can see jobs and payroll. This is a direct economic impact. This is 1,050 people buying goods and services in and around their hometown. That is a very direct impact. The other impact here, new medical providers brought to the Danville community, 17 in 2021. These are folks who are not only providing healthcare capability, but they're also engaged leaders, mentors, and role models for our youth. And we also grow our own. Our 2022 Sova Health Medical Residency class graduates this month. We have 14 graduates in internal and family medicine. Our program has become a highly competitive and highly regarded institution within graduate medical education. Both of our programs received the highest level of national accreditation from the American College of Graduate Medical Education this past year, receiving a 3-year survey approval. We also had 100% match the last 2 years for new students, and what that means is that as we go through nationally to try to match medical students who want to become internal medicine and family medicine physicians, at the end of the matching process, which is a grueling kind of week-long thing, our students and our program 100% match, so we did not have to go out and try to find second and third round draft choices on the open market, and that's a great testimony to our program. In addition to that, this program brings back to the community on an ongoing basis. Out of our 14 graduates this year, 6 of these are staying here in the community. These 6 physicians will be joining our hospital staff, providing health care in the inpatient setting. They'll be joining our residency staff and working in our clinics down here in the River District. And one of them is entering a fellowship in emergency medicine to pursue her lifelong dream to become an emergency medicine certified provider. And so she'll be doing that here in our ED. So that's a great testimony to the program, and it's a great value to our community as well. The other thing I'd highlight off the front of this are some of the additional investments being made. The capital investments for 2021, pretty significant dollar amount, $5 million in capital projects for the hospital here in Danville. This included some really behind-the-scenes, not super sexy things like our chiller replacement and LED lighting programs, both of which will reduce our dependency on energy and reduce the amount of energy that we use in our community. But also from a clinical perspective, replacing our nuclear medicine camera, our laparoscopic surgery suite, cardiac cath and stress testing information systems and equipment, and a whole host of other smaller clinical items to make sure that we can stay on the front edge of providing high-quality care. And to that point, from a high-quality care perspective, it's important for the community to know that this hospital, your hospital, our hospital in the community, provided over $25 million in care that was either charity or uncompensated. And there's a little footnote at the bottom that talks about how that's all calculated. But essentially, this is care for people in our community who either do not have the means or don't have the full financial capacity to be able to provide that care for themselves. And so the hospital picks up the tab for that. You can also see on the backside the combined $40 million impact summary. This includes $15 million in taxes paid by your hospital. So pretty significant economic driver and investor. But one of the things that we're also very proud about is our leadership within the community. The bottom and the back side of our handout here kind of talks to a couple of different things. And I'd like to brag a little bit on a program that we've really spent a lot of time working on around diversity, equity, and inclusion, both within our staff, but also across the community. Our work is ongoing. You can see it reflected in our trustees. These are folks who more and more every single time we roll over our board look more and more like our community, and we make sure that they represent folks from all perspectives and all voices. That gives us diversity, that gives us equity, and allows us to have inclusion in those voices. You also see some of the sponsorships and donations from Big Brothers and Big Sisters, Boys and Girls Club, and on down the list of organizations that we've provided direct and indirect support to in terms of sponsorships and donations. One of the community leaders challenged us a couple of years ago, and I'd like to kind of highlight why diversity, equity, inclusion work is so important to our organization. We were challenged to never miss an opportunity or a moment to be the model versus the mirror. That we need to, as a trusted and large organization in this community, we need to lead and not simply follow. And so we take that very seriously. So hopefully you can see that through this impact summary, that there's a lot of investment, not just financial investment, but investment in our community, investment in leaders, investments in education, and making sure that we continue to represent the community that we serve. I do want to kind of go on and talk a little bit about challenges within the community that we think we're going to face. One of the top challenges that we're very much working on and concerned about is opioid misuse and abuse. Opioid addiction is a critical and widespread problem across our country, and our region is no exception. We are working actively within our organization to address these issues within our reach through prevention, education, and community outreach. Internally, Sova Health is taking a much more stringent approach to diversion prevention in response as a result of the increased activity and scrutiny in that area in recent years. At the end of the day, we have an opportunity to affect this on all 3 levels with respect to preventing patients from becoming abusers, and preventing medications from getting loose in the community, and our ability to educate and outreach within the community. All of those we take very, very strongly because we recognize we have a role there. Second thing I would highlight in terms of challenges that we know we're going to face going forward, we have critical staffing constraints. Every business, and probably the city, have these same types of constraints. National labor trends are felt very sharply, though, in the healthcare industry. It's not something that you can always just put off to the next day. Or, sorry, our supply chain hasn't caught up, you're going to have to wait, we're not sure when it's going to happen. Healthcare doesn't really work that way. So Sova Health, like many other hospitals, are leveraging a number of staffing strategies, ranging from specialty pay rates for our staff to traveling labor services and everything in between. It is a wild, wild west out there in terms of staffing, and we're really kind of pulling out all the stops everywhere we can. What we know, though, is that we no longer compete locally for labor. We are now competing on the national level, and that's something that's very difficult and very challenging for a small rural community to deal with. The last thing I wanted to do is provide a small update regarding our emergency department renovation. I throw that in under challenges because that renovation is definitely going to create some challenges within our organization and for the community. As you probably are aware, we're conceptually approved for a major $15 million renovation of our ED. That project will create some disruptions, and our team is working really hard to make sure that we have a plan to kind of deal with those ahead of time. Looking at some opportunities to potentially build some urgent care capability close to the hospital that will allow us to off-gas some of the pressure on our ED and a variety of other tasks. The last thing we know is that both labor and supply chain issues will impact this project. There's no question that these and similar sized projects are going to be impacted by those supply chain issues, and so we will we'll do the best that we can. Regardless of these challenges, though, we're focused and we're driven, and overall, our goal here is to make sure that we are a high-quality organization. And we've heard from you all on the council about some concerns related to the quality of care provided by your hospital. Our hospital is committed to providing that high-quality, compassionate, and safe care to each and every patient we see, each and every time they walk through our doors. It is a challenge, there is no doubt. There are three really big measures, if you will, that we track and watch, and being transparent, I will tell you what those measures are. Our Cms Star Rating, which is a system of metrics that we're graded upon at the national level, we are at 3 stars out of 5. Our goal is obviously to be a 5. Leapfrog Health Grades is the second one. We're currently a C, which is not acceptable. We were a B up until this past cycle, and we had one of our measures that missed by a very slim margin that dropped us back to a C. The last, and probably the most visible one, and the one that we really need some assistance on, is our Google measure. So you all know everything you Google, when the organization comes up, how many stars did you get? We all see it. If you run a business, if you, whatever you do, you can Google that business, you can Google the government, you can Google your hospital, and you get a score. We are a 1.8 out of 5. That is simply not acceptable to us. What I will say, though, is that's based on 192 reviews. 192. So let's put some perspective on that. Every year, we have over 2,900 patients roll through our emergency room. We have 400 inpatient admissions every year and do 400 surgeries a month in our hospital. And we have 192 ratings. So we're doing some work to try to make sure that not just the folks who had less than satisfactory engagements with our staff, but those folks who we're providing great care to are also helping us out and letting folks know how our hospital is doing. We have a very purposeful approach to address the key aspects of the CMS and Leapfrog programs. We're doing an enhanced program to do daily bedside rounding with all of our patients to make sure we're addressing their needs. We're leaders rounding with our staff and some very focused clinical quality efforts. At the end of the day, we simply will not rest, and we are not satisfied until we are both 5 stars and A-rated, and that's what our community deserves, and so we will not rest. So why am I confident that that's going to happen? Why is our leadership confident? Well, let me tell you a little bit about the quality of care and the way we assess ourselves to know that we have the potential to meet that 5-star A rating. The Joint Commission, which is the national accrediting body for hospitals and healthcare services across the country, gave our hospital a full hospital accreditation in our recent every 3-year survey. In addition to that, they've accredited or certified our hospital for advanced primary stroke as an advanced primary stroke center, and also have certified our clinical laboratory. Those are key critical areas of our operation. In addition to that, our cardiovascular programs, We are accredited by the American College of Cardiology in heart failure, chest pain, and cath lab. All three of those things, they're the three critical. There's one additional certification that we could get, but with those three together, we can become a certified heart center. And so Dr. Miller knows all about that. He's a big part of why our program is so successful. He's been dedicated to it for a lot longer than I will say, and he probably cares to remember. But he and our dedicated staff have made sure, not that we've been initially accredited, but we have been re-accredited in heart failure, chest pain, and cath labs. So those are awesome for cardiology. In addition to that, we're Commission on Cancer accredited. The Commission on Cancer is an accrediting body that's part of the American College of Surgeons as well, and we're certified as a comprehensive community cancer program. These are all programs that are certifications for our programs here in Danville that are the same certification programs that our competitor hospitals in larger communities, our Cones, our Dukes, our Centras, and our Carillions. These same certifications, your hospital here in Danville has those exact accreditations just like those programs. That gives us the confidence to know that we can provide the same level of care. So I would conclude by saying that I'm proud to be the Chief Operating Officer for our hospital, Danville's hospital, my hospital. I live here as well. Very proud about that. We recognize and embrace our responsibility to serve our community through the delivery of health care, but also to serve as leaders, to be an economic engine and to be good community partners. And we strive every day to do that. Through our mission of making our community healthier, we constantly strive to meet all of those roles and responsibilities. So I thank you for your opportunity to provide this brief update and on just some of the things that we're working on, and I'm happy to take your questions.
Let me thank you so much for being here, and to thank you from, I'm sure, all council members. I got a list of those who want to speak, but thank you to over 1,050 employees. I think Leslie is here. Any other employees, please stand up from the hospital. Let us applaud you. Leslie, stand up. Let us applaud you for what you all are doing. Councilman Saunders. Councilman Saunders.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Kent. We appreciate the presentation tonight. As you know, Danville has, City Council voted for 3 priorities, and one of them is growing Danville. We believe, matter of fact, we know, Danville is growing. And because Danville is growing, that may increase the need for health care. With regards to that, you talked a little bit about, I guess, personnel, and I don't know about shortage of finding qualified personnel, and I know you say it's a national issue. How can the City Council, the City of Danville itself, help you, help the hospital, okay, to meet these kind of, I don't want to say fill these shortages, but how can we address that, one? And secondly, in keeping with that, is that the waiting room time seem to be a little longer to me, and I hear it from a lot of people. Is that because of the shortage of personnel, or what needs to happen to get more personnel? What needs to happen to reduce the wait time in the emergency room? And how can the City of Danville help you?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. So let me kind of take that in bite-sized pieces. I think in terms of how can the City Council help us, I think you do the things that we need to help. As our community grows, as we have economic development, we have the opportunity to have improved finances across the community, not just at the hospital. A big challenge that we have, as you can see, $25 million in uncompensated care or undercompensated care. That's a pretty big chunk of dough that kind of comes out of the pocket, and what that impacts is the ability of the organization to use the equivalent revenue to do additional things. And so those things that as a community we're doing to grow our community, to develop that economic progress, all of those things are going to happen. And so I say keep your foot on the gas, and I agree. We are growing. That's why I'm here. People always ask, I tell people this, half the time you get the wrong question is, why are you in Danville? Okay, I spent 30 years, as you all know when I spoke before, spent 30 years in the military, been lots of places. Why did you come to Danville? I think the proper question, which a few people will ask, is what brings you to Danville? And what brings me here is exactly that. So I would say, Councilman Saunders, that's what we need to keep our foot on the gas on. With regard to waiting times, I think one of the challenges that we have, and we work with our community partners on this, specifically the community paramedics out of the Danville Life Saving Crew and also the community health worker program, which was initiated at Sova Health and is now kind of branched out to some other organizations as well, including PAS, is we need to get people to seek care at the appropriate place for care. Many of the things that people come to the emergency room for are simply not emergencies, and they're care that can be provided much more effectively in other healthcare settings. And so a big piece of this is how do we help people get to the right place for care so that they're not sitting in the waiting room for the emergency room, making the folks who truly have emergent needs wait for an extended amount of time. Because once they walk through that door, we have a responsibility to assess each and every single one of those patients. And until each and every single one of them has been assessed, they're creating that logjam. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we have for that. Staffing definitely plays an impact on that, but even before staffing was as big of a challenge, we still had the same problems.
The last follow-up, Mr. Mayor, if I may. Are you still also in charge of Martinsville?
So Sova Health is a market, if you will.
Or is the Danville Hospital in
So
charge of the Martinsville?
it's interesting. So not a finance guy, but it kind of sounds like this. We're Danville Regional Medical Center operating as Sova Health. Sova Health is one hospital, 2 campuses. So the short answer is yes. Sova Health is both hospitals, the one here in Danville and the one in Martinsville.
What is your recommendation, I did say last follow-up, for people knowing there's a shortage of health care providers across the country, as you said? What are people to do other than try to stay healthy, try to stay out of your facility, but what are people to do during this serious issue? I won't say crisis, but I'll say issue.
I would say a couple things. One is, and Dr. Miller would probably back me on this, is if you truly have an emergent healthcare need, do not put it off, do not hesitate, come and be seen. We've seen a lot of challenges with people who have allowed their chronic healthcare issues to deteriorate significantly, and by the time they do get to us, it's much more difficult to bring them back to health. So I would say, please, if you have an emergent or a chronic condition, seek care for that. A couple of other things aside from what you've already mentioned. One of the things that we've worked very diligently on, and we have a great deal more work to do, and some of that through some of our partner organizations, is we have got to create a pipeline of healthcare staff within our own community. In addition to generating our own physicians and those 14 that we grew and those 6 that we're keeping, we're also able to recruit a record number of Danville Community College nursing students to stay in our community, work at our hospital. That's critical to what we do. But I would submit to you that has to reach back. That has to reach back to middle school and grade school to get kids interested in healthcare careers and develop them along a pathway to see a future that's different than what they may have thought, that allows them to come into the healthcare field. And I think that's something that we're going to see over the coming years, that we're really going to have to be thinking about solving this problem, not as an immediate this month, next year, but this is a 10-year problem that we need to solve.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor Dr. Gary Miller.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kent, for coming. Lest we forget, about a year and a half ago or so, Mr. Kent was instrumental in, along with Tommy Bennett and Paz and others, in engineering the COVID clinics for vaccination when it first came out. And Mr. Kent was there for just about every clinic they had, so we commend him for that. To answer the former Mayor Saunders' question, all the physicians at Danville have a joint appointment with Martinsville. So Sunday night I was covering here, but also one of the hospitals had a question. Their cardiologist was away, so they called me about 9 o'clock at night about a patient they had with a heart issue, and I was able to help him out with that. So we're on the same staff. I spend most of my time here, and other physicians spend most of the time in Martinsville, but we are available to both campuses at any time. So whoever's on call here can help out the other campus. So if we need somebody, if our gastroenterologist is not available, we can send them over to Martinsville easily and get the procedure done. So I hope that helps you with your question. 2 things I have, you've touched on both of them, but number one is the ER. We've heard months ago from Mr. Larson that about almost the same thing you said, that soon we'll start the ER renovations, but we haven't seen anything started yet. Do we have a timeline?
Yeah, so good question. I knew you'd ask. I was prepared. Dr. Miller has been a rabid advocate for a new ED in our hospital for some number of years now, and we thank him for his persistence in that. So Dr. Miller, the short answer to that is there is not yet a timeline, and what has happened is that, so there's a two-part process. You get a preliminary approval, which is you've got a budget, and you all do the same thing because I sat in a meeting and listened to it when you were talking about a project a month or so ago. A preliminary approval to move forward and an estimated budget for how much that was going to cost. That brought on the contractor and allowed them to do the work to kind of establish a more firm and final budget, and that work was completed at the tail end of last week. That was submitted to our leadership at LifePoint. Big surprise to nobody is that number came back higher than what had been previously budgeted for, because that budget was done probably close to a year ago, and we all know what's happened with that. So what's happening now is that new number and that plan that's been submitted by our contractor is being reviewed by the leadership there. They've had it now for 3 days, so I expect it'll take a little bit longer than that. But I'm about once a week I ping the guy up there and say, hey, so what's going on? Where are we at? Do you need anything from us? So I wish I could sit here and tell you I have a schedule, but when that budget came back a little bit over, we're going to have to wait and see what kind of decisions get made for that. So,
Second question is diversion. I was approached by no less a personage than our city manager asking about the diversion, because we've been on diversion a lot, as other hospitals have, and it was, backing up the ER, the ambulances were piling up, they couldn't leave. It was fire department was having to pitch in for the rescue squads who were taking care of patients in the ER. It's a hot mess, and I walked through the ICU. This was the weekend before last, and we had no beds available in ICU or on the heart floor, but there were 7 empty beds. But there were 7 nurses to take care of them. What can we do? I mean, you say it's a local issue, but is there any help you can get with salaries or? I know we're having to compete. I mean, some of the salaries that Moses Cone and other places are offering are astronomical for nurses. It's hard to compete with that, but somehow we can't lose all of our nurses, and we've lost several ER nurses to Moses Cone.
We've lost some to them. They've lost some to us. This is a chess match now, to be honest. It's a very proactive thing. I wish I had an answer to that, Dr. Miller. I've been doing this for a long time. Well over 30 years in healthcare, and I have never seen a labor market like this. I've seen competition between local players, but I've never seen the kind of things going on. So as I mentioned in my talking points, we are pulling on and using all the different levers that are available to all the hospitals within our company, but also across the country. We're learning from each other. They come up with a creative strategy. We adopt it. We figure out something we can do but it's kind of a nonstop battle. I don't know. I wish I had answers to it. What we are trying to do is be as fair in compensation as we can be and do the best we can to take care of our staff so that they'll want to stay and work here. I think $5 a gallon gas is probably helpful to us as well, but there's things that are happening every single day, and it is if I don't spend 60% of my time, as do all the leaders that are in administration at the hospital, on human resources related issues every week, then it's a good week. But that is the majority of what we do right now, is to work on human resources related issues across the board, not just nurses, physicians, respiratory therapists, ultrasound and other radiology folks, lab people. It's the whole market for employees. So there is no single answer. It really is not.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Kent, for your presence here tonight. Most of all, I appreciate your transparency. You dealt with the good things, the tax revenue that you've given back to the city, the employment, the numbers are high that you hire within our community. I think one of the concerns that I have, and I have served on the board for a number of years, is how do we deal with the negativism of this community? Like in our last session here, we had a young man who was talking negative about the hospital, And we just cannot walk away from that. Let me restate again. The hospital is important here. It's very necessary that we have it here. But there still is a spirit within our community that says that this is not the best institution for our people. So I think that is something that you have dealt with tonight. You dealt with the 3 stars, then you dealt with the 1.8 stars. I remember here in Danville, the average citizen in Danville, always, over half of the community, we would talk negative about Danville. But we have done a lot of work. It's been a lot of investment now. And when you walk around town, you hear a very good tone that Danville is moving forward. And there's great opportunity here. And I see that as opportunity with the hospital and the things we try to do here. But yet there is something that needs to be done to lift the negative to more positive about the work that we're doing in the community. And lastly, in dealing with the same subject, in reference to the survey that is done, you don't need one bad report that has a devastating impact upon your ratings, or 1 or 2 just knocks you out of the park.
Right.
And then you can have somebody who may come in that's with a negative mental state of mind that no matter whatever you try to do that is good, you can't satisfy them. So could you just elaborate more of how we can be more positive within Danville about Civic Hospital?
Sure. So I put a little perspective on that. So I totally agree with you 100%. There are an awful lot of negative attitudes. I do think that you all face it every day with people's negative attitudes about one thing or another. I'm sure my partner in crime, Ken, over here, hears all kinds of grief about different things that go on within the city and how the city approaches things. Intent of my presentation tonight was to kind of make sure that we didn't gloss over the fact that there are some reasons to be very proud of the hospital. Despite bad things happening in hospitals, your hospital provides outstanding health care. You have some very, very dedicated professionals within that organization at all levels. We had a comment this morning we do a stand-up every morning at 9 o'clock. And we talk to the leadership across the hospital. It's probably about 30 or 40 people typically in the room or on the Teams call or whatever. And every single day we try to remind the staff of the good things that happen. That's what we start with. So hunt for some good stuff and what happened. Last night, one of the patients was in a bad way in the ICU, and one of the pharmacists took a few moments to take a knee and pray with them. That's not her job, but that's what she did, and that's the people you have working in the hospital. We have the same thing happening where housekeepers reach out and do great things for a family because they see a need. So it's happening every single day. How do we get there? I will tell you, after being in hospitals in the military for years and years and years, it was very common that military family members would bash on their military hospital and how horrible their military hospital was and how great the hospital was that was downtown, no matter how untrue that might have been. And so I see parallels in that here, and the only way you get at that, in my opinion, is you have to be counterpunching with equal force. And that's why I talked about 190-some survey results when we see thousands and thousands of patients in that hospital every year, and we get 100 and some odd responses. We have got to do a better job getting people to step up and talk about the good things and not just the bad things. And I don't know the answer to that question either. We've got some awesome communications folks that are working on some strategies to try to make sure that we put the good stuff out in front of folks. I will admit that it has been significantly challenging coming out of COVID to be able to do that, because there's so many things that are kind of pounding on us to try to get right, but that's an effort that we're making. We call those things reputational measures. All of those survey responses are our reputational measures, and so there's a significant amount of work trying to learn the science behind that and get out ahead of that. But that's a challenge. There's no doubt about it. And what we recognize as your hospital is that when somebody's looking to come to Danville and they Google our hospital and they see a 1.8 star rating, they kind of wonder. When they see what our school district maybe looks like or what some of the other things might be, they kind of wonder. We recognize that. We accept that. And we know we've got work to do on that. And there's a very kind of focused effort to try to get after that so that we can start raising those reputational measures up. So it's hard work. There's
Yes,
no
I
doubt
know
about
it
it.
is.
Absolutely hard work.
I think it's important that we discuss that
For
in
sure.
more detail. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Buckner.
Yeah, thank you for being here, Mr. Kent. And I've taken a lot of notes tonight on things that have been said. But after your last comments there, I just want to take 1 second and say thank you, to your staff, to the things that you guys do to this community. All of you guys know I lost my mother. She was at the hospital here. But the care and compassion that your staff showed to my mother and my family and my sister, my brother, and all of us during that time will forever be thanked. You know, we thank you guys to the ends of the world and back for the care and compassion that you showed my family during that time. To piggyback off of what my colleague Reverend Campbell said, how do we get from the negative stigma that the hospital has to the positive stigma that we all want for our hospital? And Reverend Campbell, you remember very, very well the negativity that surrounded Danville for years and years and years. And how did we get away from that? How are we getting away from that now? It starts with each and every single one of us to be champions for our city, to be champions for our local businesses, to be champions for the hospital, to be a champion for the 1,050 employees that go in there and bust their tail every single day to provide care for our community. Thank you to Sova for your $82,340,000 and $122 in payroll that comes into our community every single year. Thank you for trying to reduce your carbon footprint by LED lighting in the hospital, for the energy savings that you guys are doing. All of that helps us. It helps our quality of life. And I just want to end with saying thank you. Thank you very much for all you've done for our community and all you're going to continue to do for our community, because I know you personally and I know that you have bought into this community. You love this community. Your wife loves this community. It's very refreshing to see you and your staff and your employees buying into Danville in a big way. These guys are behind the scenes every single day. They're on boards. They're out here in the community making things happen that lots of folks never know. And I just want to say thank you, Mr. Kent. Thank you for all you do. Thank you to your staff for all you guys do. You're an amazing organization, and we're thankful to have you here with us.
Councilman Saunders. Councilman Saunders.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too want to say thank you. I sat in that chair where our mayor is for 8 years. And the things that I heard and saw and witnessed was just unbelievable. That has really changed a lot. And thank you for that. I have also been a patient in your hospital. I know your hospital very well. And your staff, their neighbors, their friends, their family. This is a great community. And I'm hoping that you can find some kind of way to get a copy of this meeting tonight and show it to LifePoint, still on Sova. I talked to LifePoint, and LifePoint made a commitment that they would change things in Danville, and they did. Very, very, very positive. LifePoint, your employer, needs to know that we appreciate the work that you're doing. We love all of you. You're in our community. Thank you so much. But we are concerned, as everyone may be across the country. But we'll talk about growing Danville. It was the mayor's idea, and council approved that. And Danville is growing. When I was serving as mayor, we had an employer here, and he brought someone in, HR department, human resources. And one of the employees, this was long before you guys, okay? And one of his employees became ill, and they brought them to the hospital. And they told me about it as mayor, and they said something that it really bothers me. And I'm reluctant to say it, but I'll say it. The person told me that they would not bring their dog to our hospital. That angered me, okay? And quite frankly, I'm not putting down LifePoint, but LifePoint need to know that we care about our community. We love our people. And yes, we thank LifePoint for making it possible for you all to be here, okay? But we have a lot of good things that can be done in our community. And Mr. Mayor, I'll close by saying this, if it's in order. And I apologize, but not in order. But as you work on making things better and competing with the world for employees and supplies, et cetera, we have an excellent city manager, an excellent staff, and our city manager enjoys the support of all 9 of us. If you would let LifePoint know that he has some very good marketing skills, he has some excellent employees, he has an excellent way of working with people to improving things and making things better, please let LifePoint know that the City of Danville personnel, volunteers, council, mayor, others stand ready to make things better. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You made me want to say amen. That felt good. Councilman Mayo.
I don't know what to say after that right there, other than to let you know also that thank you for, this is a step right here. Yeah. Coming and sharing what Sova is doing, bringing your staff. To make it short, I have I deal with individuals with intellectual disabilities. I have a residential service. And one of my clients came to the hospital, and he was under the care of you all, and he took a turn, but the staff got on board, and they really got him to the point where he needs to be, and he's doing well today. And not only speaking of him, but others who are in our communities and around our areas with intellectual disabilities that are part of our community. I want to thank your staff, and they reached out to me. They asked, was he okay? And they really stepped forward. But this is the point that I love, is when you come and share with the council, with the community, and with everyone, because that partnership, and he had to have a G-tube, didn't know that they had to transport him to Martinsville, then back. And I didn't understand it until more tonight that you told that how the partnership is. So I want to thank you for just enlightening us on that. Please continue to come and share that, because our citizens, and like Sherman said, the citizens want to know, and I think the ones that are tuning in tonight, we're learning. Thank you.
Councilman Vogel.
Yeah, John, thank you for coming and presenting this tonight, and the great wealth of information, not only in the handout that was touched on, but in the follow-up questions and all that. So I thank you, and like others, want to thank the 1,050 plus employees that you have. Like Councilman Buckner, my wife is in healthcare, and so I'm know the hard work that it is for each and every one of them, especially in the last few years. I cannot thank each and every one of those employees enough for what they do. But as I think you alluded and others alluded to, particularly for a community our size, we can't truly thrive as a city without a strong, thriving hospital and without a strong, thriving school system. And I think all of us are looking forward to the improvements and brighter days for both of those things. And again, thank you.
Well, let me just say this. Councilman Saunders asked you earlier what can council do, what can city council do. And Councilman Campbell shared what took place at our last meeting. Something that you said tonight, and I agree with Councilman Saunders, I hope you carry this video back, because it's something that you said tonight. You actually gave the solution, and that's the solution that Danville used. And Ken and I talk about this all the time. You stated, and I wrote it down, when Councilman Campbell asked you, how do we stop the negativity? How do we stop the things that are being bad that said? As everyone was talking, I counted over 60 people here, including council members in the chamber tonight. And if each one of these persons can take this report that you gave out and touch, that's 60 touching 60, and 60 touching 60 more. But you said tonight, you said counterpunching bad with equal good forces in what you did. One of the things that the city had to do, and you heard, the city man, you heard Councilman Saunders talked about the city manager. I don't have to tell you and your leadership team this because you all know this. One of the things that the city manager did, and impressed this council, was he got his team on board. As each council member who served this community, it's not just Sova Health, it's not just Danville Public Schools, it's city council members, as you stated, it's grocery stores. Right now, as we're speaking, there are persons who is viewing this on River City TV, and I can guarantee you there's somebody saying something negative about something. You're gonna have that. But you counteract that with something positive, and that's what we don't do enough of. Our city manager, as Councilman Saunders stated, he rallied the troops, and he started rallying those city staff. Everyone is not happy. Just a couple of weeks ago, he sat down and he took out time to meet with every one of the fire departments, explaining to them, members of the fire department, how important they are to this mission.
Yes.
Public Works, how important they are to this mission. You mentioned the housekeepers, how important they are to this mission. That negativity, I can answer it for you. It's never gonna stop. It's never gonna stop. But if you take the advice that Councilman Saunders stated tonight, take this back, take these positivities, let the city help you pushing out a positive message. The worst thing that could ever happen, and I'm so thankful for each and every council member that spoke and those who wanted to speak, the worst thing that could ever happen would be as city leaders if we participated in that negativity, because as you said, this is our hospital.
And it's the same, not to interrupt, but I will.
No, that was fine.
We have the same conversations daily with our own staff. It starts at home. When you're hacking on yourself, you're never going to get that buy-in. And so that's why we start with those positive things. And I can't stand up and talk about all the different positive things that we reflect back to our staff, because I get emotional about it, because there's always a story about somebody going that extra mile, about making sure somebody got a ride home, about making sure that somebody was comforted in their time, about making sure something happened that didn't have anything to do with a medical treatment necessarily. Now, sometimes they are, but many times have absolutely nothing to do with providing health care, but they have everything to do with providing care. And it's not just about thanking that one person for doing that. That's important. But it's for everybody to understand that that happened, and aren't you proud that that's your colleague? And so I couldn't agree with you more. It absolutely starts at home, and we have to believe it in order for it to be real. So I thank you for all that.
I'll close with this. It's 7:49, and I'm glad you took out the time. I'm serious. I'm so glad that you took out the time to help squash that negativity, because sometimes it's going to take time to promote goodness, to stomp out that negativity. Thank you for your service, that not only that you're giving to our hospital, but thank you for your service. Councilman Saunders and I, we salute you. We're veterans, and we thank you for your service, because we know it takes strong leadership to deal with some of the things. Again, thank you for being here tonight. Anything last that you would like to add?
Thank you very much. Appreciate y'all's time.
Remember to get a copy of this video, please. Thank you so much. We have a special proclamation. Let's give the hospital a hand for all the great work they do. Maureen Belko, will you come forward, please? We have a special proclamation. We want to welcome you and say good evening. coming right behind the hospital stuff, huh? More good stuff. It reads as thus: whereas the city of Danville recognizes the underrepresented LGBTQ community and the issues that this community faces, and whereas having a positive stance against discrimination and violence toward lesbians, gay, bisexual, and transgender people promote their dignity, equal rights, and increases their visibility as a social group. And whereas celebrating the diversity and inclusion of the entire LGBTQ community across all races, ethnicities, gender expressions, faith, and social economic status will create a positive impact on the Danville community as a whole. And whereas increasing the civic and economic participation, mental health, and overall well-being of LGBTQ community members. And whereas all around the United States, June is celebrated as LGBTQ Pride Month in commemoration of the Stonewall Riots of 1969 and recognition of the impact that lesbians, gays, bisexuals, and transgender individuals have had a history locally, nationally, and internationally. Now, therefore, I, Alonzo Jones, and members of your Danville City Council, do hereby proclaim June as LGBTQ Pride Month in the city of Danville and applaud the efforts of Danville citizens to promote diversity and inclusion. Please come forward and get your proclamation, and feel free to give some remarks, please. And thank you for being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, City Council, and thank you, Alonzo, for getting through all those acronyms. I know that wasn't easy. I'd like to say that it really is so impactful to have local government support for the promotion of diversity in our community. Each of you may not directly see the impact, but Kaleidoscope regularly hears testimony of people deciding to stay in Danville, move back, or move here for the first time after they see our LGBTQ plus community has a supported presence. This year, we would like to recognize our very first ally, Ballad Brewing. Austin Bunn, the business manager, is here today to accept the proclamation with us. Ballad has been home to our yearly Pride Party since the beginning in 2018, but they continue to take their allyship further every chance they get. Ballad annually brews the award-winning Love Wins Wheat, which is successfully distributed statewide and supports Kaleidoscope VA. They regularly host inclusive events like our bi-monthly drag shows. And this year's Pride Party on Saturday, June 25th, is poised to be the biggest and arguably most impactful Pride Party yet. We are very excited to with help from the Dan River Nonprofit Network. Our yearly party, previously contained to the albeit very large tap room of Ballad, will be forced to spill out onto a closed Calhoun Street for our first ever Ally Alley of supportive nonprofits. The event keeps growing, so we needed more room. All right, Ballad has truly set an incredible example of what it means to be an ally, and we are so grateful for everything they do. With that being said, please follow Kaleidoscope Danville VA on Facebook and Instagram for all of our upcoming events. That's spelled Collide with a C, and then Scope, Kaleidoscope. We have over a dozen events planned this month alone. The next one is Thursday at Pride Night at the Otterbots. So we really hope you check us out and come to some of our events.
Well, let's ask our friend from Ballad to please stand. Thank you so much for all of you doing. Thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you so much. We have some champions in the house. Want to ask the Westover Christian Academy champions to come forward. As Councilman, I yield to Councilman Hood to talk about these champions. I thought he would have some music playing. We are the champions.
Yeah, we just wanted to call you up not only to acknowledge, but to congratulate you all on being on you all's first basketball championship, if I'm correct. Correct. Right, 2022 state champion, Westover Christian Academy Bulldogs. If you all could introduce yourselves.
I'm Coach Jim Barber, and this is Coach Patterson. I'm the assistant basketball coach, and this is Josh Lewis. He was named the state tournament MVP and first team All-State in Virginia Association of Christian Athletes.
Josh told me at Applebee's that he'll slam dunk on me, but that's a different conversation. Go ahead on, give some comments. Josh, we'll talk later.
One other thing about Josh is a great player, but he's a great kid. He was just elected student body president for next year.
Jim, just because of that, I'll let him slam dunk on you. Josh, let's hear from you. Let's hear from you.
Yes, sir. I want to thank Coach Barber and thank Coach Patterson for working with me and getting me better for this last season and next season to come. We're going to win it again, and we're going to be back here next year. Thank y'all for letting me
you brought some family members. You brought some, please stand. If you brought family members, I know your dad's back there, your mom, please stand, everyone. Councilman Vogler.
Well, thank you, Mayor. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a graduate of Westover Christian Academy, class of 2005. So I always love seeing when my
It's about Josh tonight, Lee.
I know, but I'm proud.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't think Lee played basketball, by the way. I'm just gonna
I was on the best baseball team the school ever had, but that's another story. But no, I'm very proud of you guys, and as you know, I love Westover. My time there was a big part of helping shape, who I ended up being in life, and learned a lot of great lessons there. So I'm always grateful of that and very proud of you guys. And I do want to see you win it again next year. So we'll be looking forward to holding you to that. But congratulations to you guys.
We want to thank you all so much, Jim, for when we brought back Shelby's here, the new co-chair of the Harry Johnson Holiday Tournament, and Sylvia, Lee, Barry. Thank you all, because when we brought it back, you all jumped on board, and thank you so much. Go back to you.
just wanted to, in closing, thank you, Mayor, for bringing the tournament back. I know you had a lot of leadership with help with that, but bringing it back, that helped us prepare. You know, gave us the opportunity to play against some really tough competition locally that helped us win a state championship. So,
well, I want to say to you before you leave, something that I think you've heard us a few minutes ago talking about the hospital, and people don't know this, but I want to thank you, because every so often you would send me a text message to encourage me, and I hope we can get the same thing going for the hospital. So help us with that, Jim, and I appreciate that. Thank you all for being here tonight. Councilman Hood, anything else you want to add?
That was it. Congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Man, I got one question.
Sure.
Josh, how tall are you?
6'5".
All right.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I got another question.
This ought to be good.
Josh, you can dunk on him if he can't jump.
Josh, since he said that the next time we're at Applebee's, I'm going to tell you who's going to be buying dinner for you. Keep up the good work, young man.
Sir.
Thank you all so much. Thank you all for being here tonight. Lee, is there anything else you want to add?
No, I'll hold off.
Communications from visitors. Any citizen who desire to speak on matters not listed on the agenda or on matters which do have a public hearing will be heard at this time. Citizens who desire to speak on agenda items that have a public hearing will be heard when the agenda item is considered and the public hearing is open. Let me just share, we modified this somewhat, so let me read it again. Citizens who desire to speak on matters not listed on the agenda or on matters do not have a public hearing will be heard at this time. Citizens who desire to speak on agenda items that have public hearing will be heard when the agenda item is considered and the public hearing is open. Anyone who desires to speak on any item that's not on the public hearing or an item that does not have a public hearing can be heard at this time. On the minute meetings, council, what's your pleasure? Councilman Buckner.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from the previous meeting, May 3rd, 2020.
Second by Councilman Campbell. Discussion of the motion. Madam Clerk, if you would call the roll, please.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Hood?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Mayo?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Whittle?
Aye.
Under old business, consideration of maintaining the current real estate tax rate. Council, what's your pleasure? Councilman Buckner.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve an ordinance affirming the real estate tax rate of 84% on every $100 for assessed value. Final adoption.
Is there a second? Second by Dr. Miller. Discussion of the motion. Dr. Miller.
just a perspective, we hear that, our tax rate is higher than Pittsylvania County or Smith County or Henry County, so forth. But it's apples and oranges. The city provides things such as trash pickup at the curb, street lights, fire departments, a lot more than a county does. So our rate, which we're not increasing, are among the lowest in the state. Charlottesville is 95 cents, Harrisonburg 85, Lynchburg $1.10, Richmond, Roanoke, and Salem $1.20 apiece, on and on. And Harrisonburg is 85 cents. So we're at the very bottom of our tax rate, is among the lowest in the state. So I just want to put that out there, 84 cents per $100. Thank you.
Councilman Whittle. Councilman Whittle.
Sure. But if your assessment goes up, your taxes go up. And if Mr. Larkin would tell everybody so they understand it.
Sure. Every 2 years we do a real estate appraisal of all the parcels in the city, and some values go up and some values go down. They change. On average, right now, I think the most recent data is that I think it was around 3 or a little less than 3% on average increase. But that doesn't mean it's all individualized. It depends on your property and depends on the condition and what's happening on the ground. So some will, so it will impact because it is a formula.
So if your taxes on your house are $100,000, it's $840 a year.
That's correct.
If your assessment goes up to $110,000, it moves up to
$84, I think.
Okay, right, $84. But it's not going up. But just as long as the people understand, if they do get that tax increases because the assessors have been and reassessed their property.
And the property values in the city of Danville, of course, those people who own those properties would like to see their property values go up. It's a positive thing, especially in the environment that the city's been in, where, frankly, for a long time, the value of property, especially residential property in the city of Danville, has been depressed due to population decline. But the effort of the city council and leaders for the past several years who have invested in our community to provide more job opportunities have enabled us to increase demand for housing in our community, which has led to housing prices that are more realistic, actually, compared to what it should be. But still, Danville is very affordable when it comes to housing as compared to a lot of communities in Virginia and in the country. It's a good thing that property values are going up because for a lot of people, their home is their biggest investment. And the work of the city council to provide opportunities for people to increase demand for housing in our community has enabled people to build wealth in their home, and enables us to provide services that continue to make us attractive for people who want to live here.
Thank you. I just wanted to be clear on that.
Thank you. Councilman Vogel.
Yes,
Councilman Vogel.
if I'm not mistaken,
Councilman Campbell and Councilman Vogel.
if I'm not mistaken, the tax appraisal is at 100%.
Sorry?
If I'm not mistaken, the tax appraisal is at 100%.
I don't believe the tax appraisal is complete yet. And I believe Michael Adkins is yes. He's here, so he can help answer that question.
Yes, good evening. As the city manager stated, we do the reappraisal every 2 years. It has to be completed by June 30th. As of last Friday, out of the nearly 25,000 parcels in the city, we had examined about 24,000. So we had about 1,000 left to do this month.
No, that's not my question. No.
But they are appraised at what we consider a market value.
Will be 100%.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Vogel.
Yeah, thank you, and Michael. And Councilman Whittle, thank you for bringing that up. And again, I just want to reiterate to everyone, especially those who are just tuning in, if you're wondering what's going on, the tax rate is not changing 1 cent. The tax rate is remaining the same. There's not a tax increase of any kind. The tax rate is remaining where it is. The only thing that may change for some folks is as the city has continued to improve over the last several years, and things are getting better. The assessment on their home may be better because, as the city manager alluded to, their home might be worth more now than it was a few years ago. But the rate has not changed. And in fact, I do want to remind folks that if you are permanently disabled or elderly and your income is now $30,000 or less, you can actually get real estate tax relief. And that was something this council unanimously approved just a few weeks back to provide more tax relief for our citizens. And so, again, no tax increase, and actually more folks are going to be eligible for tax relief thanks to the action of this council this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to put, could I put a motion in that we reduce the tax 4 cents to 80 cents a hundred?
City Manager, did you hear what he said? I didn't hear him.
I'd like to put a motion in to reduce the tax from 84 cents to 80 cents a hundred, reduce it 4 cents.
So that would be a substitute motion, and so that would require a second and to be voted on.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. There was a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion of that motion. Dr. Miller and then Lee.
Yeah, we did this a few years ago. We cut it down to 80 cents. The economy flattened, and we had to raise it right back up. And it's a lot harder to raise that rate than lower it. We've got big plans. We're trying to invest our money in Danville with parks, renovating and putting improvements in streetlights and sidewalks and so forth, and particularly in areas that were bypassed many years ago that didn't get that. They were promised when the city was annexed in 1988 they would have these improvements. They've never received those. We want to make that right, but it's going to take some money. So slashing our rate is the worst thing we can do if we want to go forward and grow Danville. Thank you.
Lee.
Yeah, and look, y'all know I love a tax cut as much as anybody, but this has been on our agenda for months, and this is the first time we've heard of this now, moments before we're going to vote on it. I'm sorry, my friend, but that is just a tactic to look good right before we vote on something. Do you have any clue on what the budgetary impact of this is going to be if we slash it 4 cents? I mean, I'm asking, do you know what the numbers are going to be?
$1 million.
Let me just say. About
$1 million.
Let me just say. Lee, make your comments. Then I'm going to go to Councilman Buckner because the motion's on the floor. Then we'll just vote. We'll see what the vote
Mayor, I do apologize because I don't normally like to do this, but I mean, this is, again, we've had this on the agenda for months, and not one time in any meeting was this ever mentioned. And when we're about to vote on it, again, not voting on a tax increase, just to keep the rate the same, this gets thrown out. We haven't had any chance to look at what the numbers are going to be or anything. But then when the vote comes and say, well, I tried to cut taxes and they wouldn't go along with it. I get it, man. I get it.
Man up.
No,
well, anyway, I'm sorry, Mayor.
Councilman Buckner.
Yeah, my question was going to be to Mr. Scarce, if you could come up and help us with this. I mean, Mr. Atkins, I'm sorry. And I know this is a kind of on-the-spot kind of thing. What would that look like to our, what kind of impact would that have on our budget? And I know this is a very, very hard number to just pull out of the air, but
in his historical perspective, each cent of real estate tax provides roughly between $220,000 to $250,000 of revenue. So a 4 cent reduction would be about $1 million out of the budget.
Okay.
Councilman Campbell.
Yes, I kind of agree with Lee, what he's saying. It could be for discussion for next year. I think it's worth discussing because we have our minimum on our reserves is great. We up quite a bit. And plus the extra funds that be coming in from Caesar Entertainment. I think that there are some people in the community that are really scuffing and they don't have privileges like others. So maybe not this year, but I think that it could be discussed in more details for the future.
I'm going to take one more question, then I'm going to call for the vote. Councilman Vogt.
Yeah, and again, I would have loved to have had this discussion as we went through the budget over the last few months, not 2 minutes before we vote. But, if you've taken a look around lately, our country might be heading for another recession. And so these tax revenues that we're banking on currently, right now, our city's doing great, and I hope we keep doing great. But we're bucking a national trend of what's happening around us right now. And so as Dr. Miller pointed out, you cut it 4 cents now, and a year from now, we're knee-deep in a national recession. We're going to be right back to where we were 10 to 12 years ago when this city was at rock bottom and we were trying to figure out how to balance a budget every year. So again, to throw this out at the last minute, in my opinion, is highly irresponsible. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, we're voting on the substitute motion. Madam Clerk, if you will, call roll, please.
Mr. Hood?
Nay.
Mayor Jones?
No.
Mr. Mayo?
No.
Vice Mayor Miller?
No.
Mr. Saunders?
No.
Mr. Vogler?
No.
Mr. Whittle?
Aye.
Mr. Buckner?
No.
Reverend Campbell?
No.
Now, on the original motion, Madam Clerk, call a roll, please.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Hood?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Mayo?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Saunders?
Yes.
Mr. Vogler?
Yes.
Mr. Whittle?
Yes.
Mr. Buckner?
Yes.
Vice Mayor. On appointments, Vice Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, if you'll recall, we need to remove item 5.
Council, we're removing item 5. Thank you for Mr. Attorney for that.
Consider that separately.
Appointments, Mr. Mayor?
Appointments, correct.
Yeah. Councilman Mayo and Councilman Campbell and I are on the appointments committee, and we met, I think, week before last, meeting before last, and we'd like to make these following recommendations, excluding, as we mentioned, number 5. We'll explain that to you shortly. A resolution reappointing Fred O. Shanks III to the Airport Commission. A resolution reappointing Michael Duncan to the Airport Commission. A resolution reappointing Eugene Jackson to the Airport Commission. A resolution reappointing Brian Hood to the Dan River Business Development Center. A resolution reappointing Tammy Warren to the Danville Community Policy and Management Team. A resolution appointing Jerome Holman to the Danville Community Policy and Management Team. A resolution reappointing Ralph Price to the Danville Development Council. A resolution reappointing Philip Hall to the Danville Development Council. A resolution reappointing Brian Hood to the Danville Development Council. A resolution reappointing Mike Mondule to the Danville, Pennsylvania Community Services Board. A resolution reappointing Lori Eanes Brooks to the Danville, Pennsylvania Community Services Board. A resolution appointing Adrian Watlington to the Danville, Pennsylvania Community Services Board. A resolution reappointing Sheila Williamson Branch to the Danville Utility Commission. A resolution reappointing Mary Williamson to the Danville Utility Commission. A resolution appointing Gary P. Miller to the West Piedmont Planning District Commission to fill an unexpired term. A resolution appointing Gary P. Miller to the Metropolitan Planning Organization to fill an unexpired term. A resolution reappointing Quanell Totten to the Social Services Advisory Board. A resolution reappointing Vinnie Mayo to the Social Service Advisory Board. A resolution appointing Andrea Burney to the Social Services Advisory Board. A resolution reappointing Anna Kotzman to the Transportation Advisory Board. A resolution appointing Christopher Franks to the Transportation Advisory Board. A resolution reappointing Ken Gilley to the WPPDC Technical Advisory Rural Transportation Board. And a resolution reappointing Christopher Franks to the WPPDC Technical Advisory Rural Transportation Board.
Is there a second? Second by Councilman Buckner. Discussion of the motion. Madam Clerk, call a roll, please.
Mayor Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Mayo?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Whittle?
Aye.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Hood?
Aye.
Back to you, Dr. Miller.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. A resolution appointing Ernestine Payne to the Danville Community College Board to fill an unexpired term.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Campbell. Discussion of the motion. Madam Clerk, call a roll, please.
Mr. Mayo?
I, Barry Mayo, do hereby state that I have a conflict of interest regarding the consideration of the resolution appointing Ernestine Payne as a member of the Danville Community College Board to fill an unexpired term listed on the agenda under appointments, agenda item A5, therefore pursuant to the State and Local Government Conflict Interest Act, Virginia Code 2.2-3112, I must abstain voting on this agenda.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Whittle?
Aye.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Hood?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
I, Alonzo L. Jones, do hereby state that I have a conflict of interest regarding the consideration of a resolution appointing Ernestine Payne as a member of the Danville Community College Board to fill an unexpired time term listed on the agenda under appointments, agenda item 8.5, therefore pursuant to the State and Local Government Conflict of Interest Act, Virginia Code 2.2-3112, I must abstain from voting on this agenda item. Under item A, consideration of amending the zoning ordinance establishes dwelling unit quality standards. I open the public hearing. Anyone who desires to speak on this agenda item may come forward this time. Please state your name and your address for the record, and good evening to you, sir. Good evening. Good evening to you.
Thank you.
If you give them to Lee, and you can go to the podium, we'll help you out. Give them to me, I'll pass them out for you while you go and give them all to me. And you go, okay. Because I'm sure the public wants to hear you, and you can start while I pass these out. Thank you, sir. Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, my name is Gus Dyer. I live at 165 Canterbury Road, which is still a speedway, by the way. And I'm here with some concerns, not necessarily opposition, but some concerns about this zoning ordinance change. And they deal primarily with the standards for size of units. And I'm assuming that you all got the letter that I sent to Mr. Plashinsky. And so I don't know whether you all had an opportunity to look over it, but it outlined what my concerns were. And primarily it's with the size definitions. What you have before you is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. All the rooms meet standard HUD requirements as far as size. And this house is 656 square feet. The genesis for this plan, actually, I designed it for my sister. She lives in Clemson, South Carolina. And they are allowed by right to have an accessory dwelling unit on their property. But in Clemson, South Carolina, there is a restriction on the size as far as maximum size. And so the maximum size you can have for an accessory dwelling unit is 700 square feet. So she tasked me with designing her a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house that's less than 700 square feet, and this is what we came up with. And as you can see, it's quite accommodating. All the furniture's at scale. There's a full-size kitchen, laundry room with a full-size stack washer and dryer. And each bedroom is large enough to accommodate either a queen bed or 2 twin beds. Under this proposal tonight, this plan would not be allowed to be built in the city of Danville, because under this proposal, a 2-bedroom unit would have to be a minimum of 850 square feet, which is almost 200 square feet larger than what this unit is. And I'm going to tell you, this is definitely a niche plan. I mean, I'm not saying that there should be 100 of these built in Danville, but it should be allowed for somebody, if they want to do something like this, to build something at this size. And so, like I say, I think most of you all probably got the email I sent Mr. Plashinsky. But so my question is, what issue is this trying to solve? What problem is this trying to solve? You know, I don't see any particular need to change something that's been working since I've lived in Danville. And my other concern is, where did these numbers come from? Are these arbitrary numbers? Is 650 square feet for a 1-bedroom house? Is that based on some type of, I'm running out of time. Anyway, I just wish that you all would consider this proposal more carefully. And I'm getting ready, I got one more thing to say.
Take 30 seconds. Take 30
Okay, all right. And then on number E, where it requires public utilities, each dwelling unit in a building must have separate connections to all available public utilities. At Oak Park, which is a condominium project that I developed over on Riverside Drive, what we did is we have 1 master meter, and so we actually pay the water bill out of the HOA fees. And so we're averaging less than $20 a month for water and sewer bill out there, whereas if they were connected to an individual meter for each unit, it would probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of $50 a unit, and it would have increased the cost of each unit by $3,000 for a water and sewer tap. So I've taken up enough of your time.
Thank you so
much. But anyway, if you got any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Any questions? No, thank you so much for being here.
right,
Thank you. Thank you. We're sitting in public hearing. Anyone else desire to speak on this agenda item may come forward at this time. Anyone else who desire to speak on this agenda item may come forward at this time. I close the public hearing. Council, what's your pleasure? Councilman Campbell.
Mr. Mayor, I have been studying this, and I'll be honest with you, and getting with the Earl, going over a few things, I fully don't understand it myself. I would like for us to go to work session on this. There's a lot to this that we can really look at the details.
Are you motioning to table
I would
this?
like to make a motion that we would take it to work section, sir.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Vogler. Discussion of that motion. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please. The motion is to table this. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Whittle?
Aye.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Hood? Mayor Jones?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Consideration of amending the zoning ordinance establishing a section on urban agriculture standards. I open the public hearing. Anyone who desires to speak on this agenda item may come forward this time. Anyone who desires to speak on this agenda item may come forward at this time. I close the public hearing. Council, what's your pleasure? Councilman Buckner.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve an ordinance amending, repealing, and reordering Chapter 41 entitled Zoning Ordinance of the Code of the City of Danville, Virginia by adding new section 2.cc Urban Agriculture, Article 2, General Regulations that establishes a purpose and standard for urban agriculture and deleting the definition of urban agriculture in Article 15.
Second by Councilman Mayo. Discussion of the motion. Dr. Miller.
What is the penalty if somebody exceeds the number of chickens? Is this a misdemeanor or is it
You cook them.
No, zoning infractions are now civil complaints.
civil complaint?
Right, so we would ask them, try to work out a solution to reduce the number of hen chickens, and if that was not the case, then the city could file a civil complaint at the court.
What is the limit on dogs? I don't want to accuse anybody, but some people seem to have more than 5 or 6 dogs in their yard.
The city currently does not have a limit on any other domesticated animals.
Really?
Correct.
You should look at that.
Anyone else? Councilman Whittle.
Yeah, so what changed from the other way, the way it was?
It lessened the distance requirements, and it took away the requirement to have a special use permit. A lot of people were, before you can go to Tractor Supply and pick up a couple, 3 chickens for next to nothing, but to file a $360 application. So this gives stricter requirements with having them in a pen, but or an enclosed coop, but it takes away having to come to city council to ask permission for up to 4 chickens. If they want more, they still come to city council.
Councilman Vogler.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, you just answered a lot of what I was going to ask. So the short version for folks is that if you've been thinking about getting chickens before, you had to come down and bring it to us for each individual. Now, if we pass this tonight, they don't have to come to council as long as it's 4 or less, correct?
4 hen chickens or less. No guinea fowl, no turkeys, nothing else you can buy, no racing ducks. 4 hen chickens. No roosters.
Thank you.
Just to follow
Partridge in a pear tree, Dr. Miller.
Maybe I'm mistaken, but I thought there was a limit. If you had over 6 dogs or cats, you had to have a kennel license. Is there anything like that on the books?
Not that I'm aware of, and we've researched this very thoroughly in the past week.
Most communities have that limit. You at least have to get a license to have. If you have 6 or 8 or 10 dogs, you got to get a kennel license.
I think that's something the city may discuss in the future.
Okay, I might ask you to look into that. Thank you.
Dr. Miller, we discussed that several years ago when we updated the animal, and it was not council's will at the time to do that.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Whittle?
Aye.
Mr. Buckner?
Yeah.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Hood?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Mayo?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Consideration, we need that humor after Lee and Madison. It's consideration of a special use permit at 900 South Main Street. I open the public hearing. Anyone desire to speak on this agenda item may come forward this time. Please state your name and address for the record, and good evening to you, sir.
Hello, how you doing, Mayor? How you doing, council members? My name is Terrell Carter. I'm speaking on behalf of Mr. Ali for the location at 900 South Main Street, and I request for a special use permit. So we're requesting a special use permit so we can legally operate skilled games at the location.
Thank you so much. Anything else you want to add? Thank you.
Well, we have went through the business zoning, the next meeting, and so we've been here. We've been doing it, trying to do it the right way, even though it has been a murky situation to get here. But we just want to stay with, legal, and we want to be able to operate the skilled games.
Appreciate you. Thank you, sir, for being here. Thank you both for being here. Thank you so much. We're still in public hearing. Anyone else desire to speak on this agenda item may come forward this time. Anyone else desire to speak on this agenda item may come forward this time. I close the public hearing. Councilman Vogler.
Yes, Mayor, I move we adopt an ordinance granting special use permit application PZ22-71 filed by Ganzafari Ali for Usman Enterprises requesting a special use permit for commercial recreation facility according to Article 3MC4 of the Danville zoning ordinance at 900 South Main Street, parcel ID number 22494.
Is there a second? Second by Councilman Whittle. Discussion of the motion. Dr. Miller.
Yeah, in the wisdom of our legislature, who were supposed to resolve this issue or the courts were supposed to resolve this May 12th, they didn't.
They did not.
They did not, and now it's been put off till November. So I would ask if we can get some clarification from our attorney where we are.
Clark.
Yes, sir.
We yield to you.
Without getting too technical, currently under Virginia law, the skill games are actually still considered illegal as they're defined as in the illegal gambling.
Fast. So they still being defined as illegal. Okay.
Illegal gambling. There is a case that Dr. Miller referred to in Greenville County, a little north of here, in which that statute is the constitutionality of that statute is being challenged, and therefore there is an injunction in place that says that police officers cannot write up or charge criminally people who operate skill games as long as those skill games were approved by ABC prior to July 1st, 2021. So if somebody is operating skill games, then they cannot be charged criminally. Again, there's other legislation that's probably going to go into effect in July to try to clarify the issues that are at the heart of the case in Greenville County. But as far as our office is concerned, and as far as most people are concerned, most lawyers are concerned, the actual playing of the games are considered illegal gambling.
Mr. Attorney, I asked this question one time before. It's a motion on the floor to vote on this. If this fails, what happens?
They will not be issued a special use permit.
And if they was to table this, what would happen?
Then they would not be able to operate until such time as the council unless the council at a later date were to grant them the special use permit.
Thank you. Lee.
Yeah, I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible because it's already been a long night. But if on the agenda packet that we have, it lays out three options for us. Number one is to deny the special use permit request. This is all from the agenda packet. If Mulholland's continues to operate commercial recreation, the city will have to bring a civil case against Mulholland's for zoning violations because the court injunction limits criminal enforcement. That's option number one. Option number two, approve the Planning Commission recommendation, which allows Mulholland's to operate commercial recreation within the 11 conditions the Planning Commission recommended through the end of 2022. So it would give them this through the end of 2022 under the 11 conditions that were put forward. Currently or previously there were no conditions. Option number three, remand the request back to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission may postpone action until the injunction is over, allowing Mulholland's to operate commercial recreation without restrictions in the meantime if they do not violate the injunction. So if we send it back to the Planning Commission, they can keep operating until the state decides whatever they're going to do. If we deny it, then they could continue to try and do it, and we'd have to bring a civil case against them. If we approve what the planning commission's done, they'll operate, but they'll actually have conditions in place. Doug, if I said anything that's inaccurate, is that a good short-term understanding of what we're faced with here? We can approve the recommendations, and they have a permit through the end of this year, unless the state between now and then says all of them are done, correct?
Correct.
If we send it back to the planning commission, they may just say, we're going to wait until the state figures it out, and we don't know how long that's going to be, and they can continue to operate without any kind of oversight, basically. Is that correct?
Essentially, yes.
If we deny it, they can try and do it anyway, and then we've got to sue them over the right of them doing it. Is that correct?
That could happen too. Or they could comply and cease operations.
To me, if those are the three options, it makes the most sense to approve the permit, because that's the only way that they actually have some kind of oversight, because otherwise they're likely to continue operating anyway without any kind of oversight. Is that
correct?
In the realm of...
That could happen. You know, I don't, you know, I'm going to assume that this property owner and operator is not a scofflaw and would comply, that say, okay, well then I can't have these here. But considering that this is also an example of all of the other cases, the 400 to 500 skill games at one point that we had operating in Danville illegally, this is kind of a microcosm, and this would be the last indoor recreation special land use, because they applied for this request prior to us changing the ordinance and restricting skill games to industrial areas.
Thank you. And look, I know all of us have probably been frustrated by this legal gray area this whole thing's been in for I don't know how many years now, but I think the options have been laid out. To me, it seems kind of clear what we should do, but
Doug, thank you. I'm about before you to Dr. Miller and then Larry and Madison and Buckner. Thank you for clearing up on the owner's behalf that if we said no, that he will continue to operate. I appreciate you clearing that up, that he would not, he give him some integrity. Thank you. Dr. Miller, then Larry, Madison, and Buckner.
Question, are these new machines? Didn't Mulholland's have machines? I mean, they want 6 machines.
Mulholland's was authorized by ABC to have 6 machines.
From the very beginning, 6 machines.
When the state legalized them for that 1 year.
So did they apply before July of 21?
Ken, let's get to the city manager. He may be able to help you.
I just want to add to that conversation. The ABC may have approved them, but I don't believe that they ever received any city approval to operate. So most businesses that have operated skilled machines within the city of Danville never received any permission from the city council to do so. One, I believe, went to the BZA and got approval through the BZA. Another business had the designation allowed, which enabled them to have a couple machines. I think I'm accurate. So there are very few skilled machines that were allowed in the city of Danville per what the city of Danville was approving. Now, the ABC did what they did on their own without any input from the city on any of this, and that was something that was a point of discussion with staff about why they would do that, approve the use of a machine that wasn't allowed by city zoning. I don't want to complicate the issue anymore, but I just thought it was important information to add to the conversation. That
what is the staff's recommendation?
Well, my direction to our staff has been that these machines are illegal, that we should do everything that we can to prevent their operation. And that has always been my direction to the staff.
So you basically is asking council to vote no tonight?
Well, there is merit to there are 3 options.
I know you're going to call. I know you're going to call me tomorrow.
There is merit to, it's a tough one. You're relying on if it's denied, like Mr. Poklinski said, you're relying on the integrity of the business owner to comply with what the city council has requested. Now, do what he wants, but my direction would be at that point for the staff to pursue all options to stop the operation, because I consider them to be illegal. So I would ask our city attorney's office to pursue a civil penalty, or whoever needs to do that. I would ask them to pursue civilly to get them to cease their operation, because that's been my direction.
Well, I'm glad you cleared that up, because the thing that you said that stands out to me is no one actually is coming to the city and asked for our permission to go to city council. So I appreciate you saying that.
One more follow-up.
Back to you, Dr. Miller.
The ones that are operating, are they being taxed by the city? Is somebody receiving taxes, or are they tax-free?
We've received tax revenue from the skill machines that were operated for a period of time. I'm not sure if we are now. It's the Commissioner of Revenue that keeps up with that. It's my understanding that they don't all comply, that some do and some don't, and I'm not sure of the case here.
Tax rate 30% or something like that?
I can't remember.
I think it's pretty high, so that's a lot of money we're missing if we're not pursuing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Councilman Campbell.
My question has been answered.
Councilman Whittle.
So if they've been given a direction and a code to work under, well, or from the Planning Commission, seems to me that the Planning Commission put it in order the way they were going to operate them. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Councilman Buckner.
Yeah, my question is for Attorney Whitfield. Do we open ourselves up to any kind of litigation? We've had several of these special use permits come before us, and we've denied every single one of them. Do we put ourselves in any kind of awkward situation by approving this one, and being that we've turned down all the others?
I'll answer that with two ways. First of all, I think you consider each particular application as a separate application. So I think because there are different factors in each application, there are different number of machines, all kinds of circumstances that change. So I would say that since I don't think you're setting a precedent, or you have set a precedent. But I will say, as my old law school professor used to tell me, or used to tell us, anybody can sue anybody at any time for anything.
Boy, how well I am aware of that.
Councilman Vogel.
Yeah, I want to make something clear about a point earlier. I wasn't suggesting anyone would do something against the city. I was reading straight from the agenda packet on what the three options were, verbatim. So I just want to I'm not questioning anyone's integrity. I was reading what's in our packet of what our three options were. So I just want to make that clear.
Councilman Saunders.
Mr. Mayor, motion on the floor, properly second, correct?
Yes, sir.
Call for the question.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mr. Vogler?
To approve the permit,
motion,
correct?
The motion on the floor is to approve it.
Yes.
Mr. Whittle?
Yes.
Mr. Buckner?
No.
Reverend Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Hood? Mayor Jones?
No.
Mr. Mayo?
No.
Vice Mayor Miller?
No.
Mr. Saunders?
No.
Under item D, consideration of approval of application for the Virginia Department of Rail and Public Transportation for mass trans funding. I open the public hearing. Anyone who desires to speak on this agenda item may come forward this time. Anyone who desires to speak on this agenda item may come forward this time. I close the public hearing. Council, what's your presence? Councilman Buckner.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve a resolution authorizing an application by the City of Danville, Virginia, Department of Rail and Public Transportation for grants and operating capital costs for the public transportation for fiscal year 2023.
Second by Councilman Mayo. Discussion of the motion. Madam Clerk, if you would call the roll, please.
Mr. Whittle?
Aye.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Hood?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Mayo?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Under item E, City Attorney.
Yes, sir. Item E was a consideration of authorizing the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Virginia to conduct hearings and trials at the James F. Ingram Justice Center. I received some communication this week from Judge Urbanski and as well as the clerk, Julia Dudley, who asked us to pull that resolution. They wanted to tell the council they really appreciated the fact that we were moving so fast, but we kind of needed to slow it down because there needed to be the director of administrative office of the U.S. courts has to approve our space and facilities, and then there's also a facility license that has to happen, and it was explained to me by Ms. Dudley that that happens at all times. I also wanted to acknowledge Scott Jones, who is here. He is Judge Cullen's law clerk, and Judge Cullen was the one that would probably be one of the first ones to use it, and would benefit greatly from it. And Scott is actually stationed here in Danville, so I wanted to recognize him tonight.
Scott, welcome.
Yep.
Clark, do we need a motion to table anything? Do we need to do anything?
I think we could just remove it from the agenda, a motion to remove it from the agenda.
Councilman Vogler.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we remove item E from the agenda.
Second by Councilman Campbell. Discussion of the motion. Madam Clerk, call a roll, please.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Hood?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Mayo?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Whittle?
Aye.
And once all the logistics have been worked out, this will be back.
Thank you so much, Clark. Thank you so much for being here, too. On the consideration of the budget of the City of Danville, the capital and special projects plans, and the budget appropriation ordinance, I open the public hearing. Anyone who desires to speak on this agenda item may come forward at this time. Anyone who desires to speak on this agenda item may come forward at this time. Anyone desire to speak on this agenda item may come forward this time. I close the public hearing. Councilman Vogler.
Clerk, can I read all these continuously, or do I have to stop for each one?
We have to do each one separately.
Okay. Mayor, I make a motion we adopt a resolution approving the budgets of the various funds of the City of Danville for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2023, first reading.
Second by Councilman Buckner, first reading.
Go to the next one.
Back to you.
All right. I make a motion we adopt a resolution approving the fiscal year 2023 capital and special projects plan for the City of Danville, Virginia, first reading.
Second by Councilman Buckner, first reading.
Mayor, I make a motion we adopt budget appropriation ordinance for fiscal year 2023, first reading.
Second by Councilman Buckner, first reading. Consideration of fee increases effective July 1, 2022. I open the public hearing. Anyone desires to speak on this agenda item may come forward at this time. Anyone who desires to speak on this agenda item may come forward at this time. I close the public hearing. Councilman Buckner.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve an ordinance amending and establishing certain rental rate fees of the City of Danville effective July 1st, 2022. First reading.
Second by Councilman Mayo, first reading. Consideration of increasing the personal property tax on aircraft. I open the public hearing. Anyone desire to speak on this agenda item may come forward at this time. Anyone desire to speak on this agenda item may come forward at this time. I close the public hearing. Councilman Campbell.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion for adopting ordinance amending and reordaining section 37-36 of Danville City Code to increase personal property tax on airplanes from 30 cents per 100 of an assessment value to 69 cents per 100 of assessment value effective January 1st, 2023. First reading.
Second by Councilman Mayo, first reading. Consideration of amending the fiscal year 2022 budget appropriation ordinance for a Burn Memorial Justice Assistance grant in the amount of $25,115. Council, what's your pleasure? Councilman Buckner.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2022 budget appropriation ordinance by increasing revenue for the 2021 Edward Bryan Memorial Justice Assistance Grant, JAG program, award in the amount of $25,115 to be used to implement a utility terrain vehicle project. First reading.
Second by Councilman Mayo, first reading. Under item J, consideration of amending the fiscal year 2022 budget appropriation ordinance for a recreation enrichment program in the amount of $249,240. Councilman Buckner.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2022 budget appropriation ordinance to provide for funds in the amount of $51,915 for a recreation enhancement program and the local in-kind share of $197,325, or total appropriation of $249,240, and appropriating the same. First reading.
Second by Councilman Campbell, first reading. Consideration of amending the fiscal year 2022 budget appropriation ordinance for a victim witness grant in the amount of $177,083. Councilman Buckner.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2022 budget appropriation ordinance to provide for a grant from the state for a victim witness program in the amount of $177,083 and appropriating the same. First reading.
Second by Councilman Mayo, first reading. Under Communications, City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to introduce an intern that we have with the city manager's office. Her name is Katie Christofferson. She would just stand, please, and wave.
Welcome, Katie.
Is a rising sophomore at Hollins University, has an interest in political science, and I'm trying to convince her that local government is the best form of government over state and federal.
Hear, hear.
She picked a good night.
That's right.
Here at all tonight.
She has been working on projects for the city manager's office, for community development, and for the economic development office, and has received some tours of various city facilities, and I got to accompany her on one of them, which I found to be pretty enjoyable myself. So thank you, Katie, for your work with the city.
I need a second for Katie to consider local government, then we'll all vote. Katie, welcome aboard. Thank you so much. Deputy City Manager. City Attorney.
Nothing further this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. City Clerk.
Sir.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Reverend Campbell?
Yes, this has been a very interesting session tonight. I think that it's been educational for a lot of our visitors and people who are tuned in to City Council tonight. We see that Danville is moving forward and Caesar Corporation, Caesar Entertainment is moving forward. My comment on this is that I have gotten phone calls and a lot of questions. Understand the process. Understand the process. And if you understand the process, then you're able to move in the right direction. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Hood?
Thank you.
Mr. Mayo?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to yield my time to some dear friends I have out here in the audience, and I'd like them to come forward, please, because when you mentioned communications, I think we got thrown off a little bit.
Thank you, appreciate it. Come on. Mr. Mayor, members of council, I want to thank you for the opportunity just to speak briefly. I'm Tom Fraticelli. I'm the Director of Outreach for Southwest and Central Virginia for Brightview. We are an outpatient addiction treatment center. Let me introduce quickly Jennifer Miller. She is our Community Outreach Manager, and she has some folders with her that she's going to kind of distribute here once we're done. And I also want to introduce Brooke Murphy. She is our Patient Services Representative. Mr. Kent mentioned Mr. Kent mentioned that opioid treatment is one of the large concerns in Southwest and Central Virginia, as well as South Side. And we are here particularly to help remedy that cause. Brightview opened here in Danville on May 2nd. We're at 480 Mount Cross Road. We join locations here in Southwest Central Virginia in Roanoke, Lynchburg, Danville, and now Martinsville. We are an outpatient clinic that treats substance use disorder. That includes alcohol, prescription drugs, illicit drugs, and other types of substances. Danville was our 59th location. Currently, we have 61. We were started in Cincinnati, Ohio, founded by 2 ER doctors that were unsatisfied with the treatment for addicted patients. That began our treatment process, which is really built on 3 pillars. We have a medical portion of it, a psychological, as well as a social. The psychological includes individual counseling. The social includes group therapy, as well as care coordinators to help individuals that need assistance with food, clothing, housing, other types of insecurities. We are excited to be here in the Danville River region to assist in the treatment of addiction and specifically substance use disorder. Just quickly, some of the differences about our particular program is that we treat addiction as a disease. We treat patients as people. We have no waiting list. We accept both private insurance, Medicaid, Medicare, and the uninsured. There is no individual that is looking for treatment that is turned away for their inability to pay. We have a foundation that assists in covering those costs. We accept walk-ins Monday through Friday up until 3 p.m. If someone cannot begin their treatment or can't complete it between 3 and 5, we have them return the next day. Again, we work with and partner with many local healthcare, criminal justice, and government groups to help alleviate the scourge of addiction in communities that we serve. So please feel free to contact me or Jennifer for a tour of our facility. I know a couple of you have actually had the opportunity to go through. All of our locations look like primary care physician offices, and we encourage you to come out so you can really discover what the Brightview difference is, and let us know how we can help your community on a daily basis. Our ears are open and we're ready to be here to assist.
Well, I want to thank you all for being here. Councilman Mayo did not forget you all in the beginning. He wanted you to sit through this whole council meeting.
Thank you.
That was Lee, you had something you want to add?
Yes, sir. Yeah, he wanted you to sit through it in case you were thinking about getting involved in local government. No, I just wanted to say thank you, and I did have the chance to tour. Jennifer gave me a fantastic tour, and I came away very impressed, and so I'm glad that you'll be offering this service here in our region. It's, as you said, very needed. Thank you.
Are you hiring?
We are.
Talk about hiring. City always like people hire.
We are. We always have, again, as we kind of build our patient base, we continue to expand the number of counselors that we bring on. We have at least 2 positions that are open right now, including a director of clinical director of counseling, and there are other positions that are open now, and there'll be additional ones that will continue to come aboard.
So people just come right across from Walmart and they can come and visit you and apply for those jobs. Back to you, Councilman Mayo.
And what I would like to piggyback on is that, like Lee said, I really fell in love with them because the one thing that they do is that they turn no one away. And we've had these issues, and I think Councilman Saunders can piggyback on that, knowing that we have a substance abuse issue in this area, and of course it's all over the world. But with that being said, and the challenges we had were people who didn't have or needed and they couldn't get the help. These people are here and they're here to help. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk. Anything else? If you want to give that information to the city manager right there, he'll be more than happy to pass it on to council members. And thank you all so much for being here. Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Yeah, forgotten in the last couple of years, there were 1 million COVID deaths. Last year, there were 100,000 overdose deaths in this country. All the emphasis was on COVID. There were 100,000 people died of overdoses in this country last year. A much needed service. Comments, my memory may be fading, but I don't think we recognize one of our own, John Crane, at our meetings. He won several awards for newspaper reporting. Statewide awards. So thank you, John, for what you do. You did a great job. I've approached the city manager about this. A constituent came to me about it. I know a lot of people that live in the downtown apartments. A lot of these are resident physicians or student physicians. And I'll ask them, are you going Thursday night to the community market concert? Are you going to the Carrington? We didn't have any idea there was anything going on. We need to advertise this. When you go through Roanoke, there's a big sign that tells you what the events are for the next 3 months. It's a revolving sign. Travis Tritt is coming next week or something. A lot of people don't know that. You can look it up on the website, but a lot of people don't know to do that. And I asked him just to look and see if there's some way we could put, maybe even rotating, or we advertise signs that say we need people working public works or city. Maybe we could have some kind of those portable signs or something that says what's going on for the next month downtown, what community events, so people would stumble into them and they'd know. And I think we might improve our attendance. So Mr. Larkin said he would look into that and see what we could be done. We don't need a big sign like Roanoke. That would cost probably $1 million, but some kind of better advertisement downtown. I don't know if you probably missed this, but in the Richmond paper yesterday, they found the body of a 23-year-old woman. They still haven't found her colleague. She was also in the paddle boat. There were 10 people went over a Lowhead Dam north of the Richmond Powhite Bridge on Memorial Day. 10 people went over that dam. 2 of them drowned. These are killing machines. We have killing machines here in Danville. At some point, we're going to have to get our head out of the sand and get rid of these killing machines, these low-head dams. They are dangerous. If you get caught in them, you can't get out. They just circulate you until you drown. So That was, I noticed that headline from the Richmond paper. And finally, if you haven't, I ran into two people today who've gotten their initial COVID shots but never gotten their booster. And pretty much everybody's qualifies for the booster, so get your booster shot. And if you can get the booster shot, get it too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Saunders?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to say again, LifePoint, I hope they get this video. Mr. Kent and Mr. Larson and the staff doing a great job. But every boss has a boss, and their boss will be LifePoint, and they must do what they are told to do. So LifePoint, we need you to come in to help our city grow and to make sure that not only our existing residents, but those who are coming will get good health care. So LifePoint, it's on you. Mr. Mayor, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Vogler?
Yeah, I'm going to try to smile and be positive through my whole closing comments tonight. But I want to start with, and I'm surprised Councilman Hood didn't bring this up because he did such an awesome job while we were out there. But some of us were at the Otterbots game for opening night, and Councilman Buckner and Councilman Hood and myself got to throw out the opening pitches, and I know the mayor was at the game, and so later on, first inning, second inning or something, they asked Councilman Hood and I if we'd like to go out and do one of the in-between inning activities, and we said, yeah, sure, before we even really knew what we were getting ourselves into. And they said, well, by the way, you're going to be doing ribbon dancing. I said, well, what the heck is that? And so then they explained us, oh, gosh. But, we didn't want to back out. We wanted to be good sports, so we did it. But they separated us. So they took me down to the first base side. I'm down in there in the home dugout. And they took Councilman Hood down to the third base dugout. And he's over there. I don't see him anymore until we're out on the field doing the thing. And, so I'm out there. I'm doing it. And then all of a sudden I look over there. And Councilman Buckner came out of the bullpen or wherever he came from. They came in, they're over there trying to double team me. They're both dancing. They're handing the thing off back and forth. And Buckner's doing cartwheels or something. I don't know what they're doing over there. But anyway, I won't say who got the louder applause from the crowd.
Buckner can't dance. We know better.
Yeah. See, I think Bryant would have been all right if James had stayed in the dugout, but that might have blew it for him. I don't know. But no, the Otterbots are off to a great start. We had a great time, and I encourage folks to go on out. They're playing tomorrow night at home and Thursday night, I think, at home, and through the summer, but a lot of fun out at the games. Speaking of Councilman Buckner, I want to thank him. The James Buckner Food Truck Rodeo was fantastic this past weekend down on Bridge Street, and gosh, I don't know how many people came through, but it was jam-packed when we were there, and maybe the biggest crowd I've seen yet. And I think you've done it for 5 years now, and this was your 9th event, and the 10th one coming this fall. And I'm probably stealing your notes from when you're going to speak, so I'm sorry, but you can never say it enough. And they added some new things with vendors this year, but it was a lot of fun. And to think, people from Reedsville and Greensboro and just all over coming into the city, spending money, visiting other stores through the River District and stuff. It's a great event, and James, I always want to bring it up and thank you for doing it, because so many people really do enjoy it. I also want to congratulate all the graduates in our city and in our region coming up this week, and also the students who worked really hard, all the students, not just those graduating, but those who worked hard through this year, SOLs and everything else that they had to do. And my son is finishing up 2nd grade, and they've been having a blast here the last week or so. Every day they're having something fun going on, and it's a lot of work going into it, and the teachers and everyone else. I mean, we've got some great teachers in our school system, and we need to do everything we can to support them and support our students and all that. And I know that's the number one priority of this council is the education of our young people. And so again, I want to thank them for the hard work they put in all year, and tell them to enjoy their summer. And I want to close with, I was thinking about this earlier when the Sova presentation was going on, but years ago, I was at, I guess it was a VML conference, and a person from one of the other localities gave this analogy, and it has stuck with me for years. And he was talking about negativity in a community, or negativity in general. And he said, if I took this, he had a cup, but if I took this bottle of water and I had a blot of ink, and I dropped that blot of ink into this cup, It'd be pretty noticeable. You'd see it. I could take that same size blot of ink and drop it into a swimming pool, and you would probably never even know it was there. You will always have negativity, as the mayor said, but if you surround it with so many positive things and positive people and positive stories, you will drown out that negativity every single time. And that's what we've been doing as a city, highlighting all the great positive things that have been happening. And so let's spread that positivity. I know that's an interesting night to say something like that, but at the end of the day, we got a lot of great things happening here. And I'm proud of this council, and I'm proud of this city, and I'm proud of our citizens, and I love being here every single minute of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Whittle?
Yeah, earlier I got a little bit excited because Delegate Marshall had sent us a note saying that at least the state, the House and the Senate had finished with the budget, and it was a $4 billion in tax relief coming to the citizens of Virginia, and I just wanted 4 cents, but I think that's where I got a little excited. It provides nearly $4 billion in state tax relief, including $250 tax relief for individuals, $500 for couples, increases the standard deduction to $8,000 for individuals, $16,000 for joint filers. Includes $3 billion in new direct aid for K through 12, including $1.25 billion extra in support, over $3 billion in school construction projects, which we're on our way with ours, but I know that should be a big help. And it goes down, let's see what it was. Provides pay increases for teachers, sheriffs, deputies, and state employees. And I just wanted to thank Delegate Marshall and the House and the Senate and Governor Youngkin for getting these bills passed and getting the budget straight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Buckner?
Yeah, just to piggyback off what Councilman Vogler said about the food truck rodeo, I do think that was one of our better events that we've had. Thank you, all of you guys, for coming out. Most of you guys came out and enjoyed some of the scenes that were going on down there, enjoyed some good food and some good music. It's always a pleasure to have you guys join in these events, and for folks to see us out together and having a good time always means a lot. I think this was probably one of the most diverse crowds we've ever had, which is what it's all about. Years ago, Mayor Gilstrap decided we would tag ourselves a city of diversity and inclusion, which I thought was brilliant then, and we've run with that ever since. And that's what this city is about, is coming together, loving one another, and having a good time. And what better way to do that than over good food and good music and good company. So thank you all to everyone that's at home watching. Thank you all to you guys for coming out and having a good time with us. It was a really, really good time. Something that struck and stuck with me when Mr. Kent was here earlier from the hospital, if you've had a good experience with Sova Health, if you've had a good experience, Danville or Martinsville or anywhere you've been with Sova Health, please, it takes seconds to write a positive review on Google. That positive review will be, I've written several, and I think the littlest one that's ever been seen is about 1,600. That's 1,600 people that have seen a positive note about a local business, and I only write them about local businesses because I feel local businesses, small businesses, need a hand, and they need to know that people are out there appreciating what they're doing. And if you have any complaints or any issues, if you feel like you can't find anything good to say, I'm afraid I'm about to sound like my grandma. My grandma would always say, if you ain't got anything good to say, keep your mouth shut. But I'm sure that the hospital would love to hear from you. If there's something they can improve on, I believe you can always reach their administrative assistant. And for those of you at home that may have some issues or some concerns, would you like to express to Mr. Kent or someone at the hospital in their administrative offices, you can always reach them at 434-799-3700. But if you've got something good to say, take two minutes out of your day and write a positive review on Google, and let's help that hospital. We've got to be proud of it. You know, as we talked about earlier, Danville was in a bad way 10 years ago, and how do we change that? Well, we change the mindset. You change your mindset. If you're in a bad mood, if you're in a funk and you need to get out of it, change your mindset. It's not always easy. Look, we're 10 years into this thing, and we still have negativity every day. We get it every day. But as Councilman Vogler said, that drop of ink in a swimming pool is really hard to notice. And lastly, I want to say that I'm so very proud of all of our 2022 graduates. Galileo graduates Friday. There's one student in particular at Galileo that I'm exceptional. I mean, I just can't tell you how excited I am. I'm over the moon excited, and I'm proud of my son, Elisha Shelton, who will be walking the stage this Friday as a 2022, I don't know why I can't say that. It hurts me to say he's graduating, I think. He'll be a 2022 graduate of Galileo High School. Son, I'm very proud of you. Your mom and I are very excited about your future. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mayor Jones?
Elijah, we are proud of you. I get to spend some time with Elijah as well.
Y'all watch them grow up too. I mean, we've been together for so long. It's really exciting.
Long time. We'll be at the graduation. I think this is the first time we got an invitation to the graduation. So we'll be at the graduation. Thank you, Dr. Harrison, for giving us an invitation to the graduation. So Elijah, you'll hear that corner that's rooting for you and all of the young people. That's our corner. That's the councilman's corner. But to all of our young people that you're graduating for Galileo, George Washington High School, congratulations to you all. To all of our teachers, our staff at Danville Public Schools, to all of, whether you're a custodian, a cafeteria worker, bus driver, principal, assistant principal, whatever your job, nurse, we appreciate all that you. It's been a tough year for you all, and we really appreciate you. My last note is we have some public safety officers here, a police officer, I see Major Jones and Shelby here. Thank you for what you do. I got a call earlier this afternoon, a possible young person in the pool or in the river, and you all kept us posted on that. We're praying with them for the families. But as graduation takes place, we want our young people to be very, very careful throughout the summer. As you heard, we have splash parks and everything that the city is trying to do to make things much better for our young people. So to all of our young people and parents, as graduation takes place this week, we want you to be very careful, be very cautious. There's been a numerous of shootings in our country. Please, please, please be very safe and have a great summer. And on that note, we are adjourned. Our meeting is across the hall.